So the deal between Newcastle and Forest for Anthony Elanga is edging ever closer. Welcome to your Forest news. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Forest news. Coming up, I'm going to bring you all the latest details on this deal, as it is now looking very likely from people I'm talking to that this deal is going to go ahead. I'm also going to give you my opinions. A lot of you are asking me what you saying, Wolfie. Are you Elanga in? Are you Elanga out? I'll talk you through my honest thoughts on that as well. So if you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well if you're new to Forest Fan TV. And let's jump into this. Okay, so the latest on this all is the deal itself. There's been a couple of different reports. Ornstein has reported over 50 million. Some others are reporting 55 plus add-ons. What I'm being told at the moment, it's a straight £55 million deal. But Forest are still wanting £60 million. So although the deal sounds close in essence, it's still not complete and finalised. Now, does this mean that Forest are going to hold out for 60 million, or that Newcastle will hold out at 55, or will they meet somewhere in the middle? My gut feeling says it's probably going to be something like 55 plus 5. That would make more sense as well. It would also reduce the profit margin that Manchester United get, because as far as I know, on optional or on add-ons, should I say, those don't form part of the 15% profit. And we're still not sure, is it 15% or 20%? If the deal was done at 55 mil, that would mean that Forest owe Manchester United 6 mil. So we're looking at a net 49 million for this. Obviously, that's just straight up cash. We're not talking about the PSR numbers on this one. Forest are very comfortable. They owe about 6 million on Elanga, something like that, 6 to 9 million. So anything over that is pure PSR profit. But I don't care about that. I'm kind of alongside Ant's thought process on that. The money is the money. If we lose Elanga, what's coming in instead of him? We'll get onto that in a minute. What I want to do first, though, is just run you through Ornstein's report that he's dropped. So let's just bring that up for you guys. Now, there's a lot of fluff in it, so I'll go through the main points. So for me, this summer, Ornstein and Ben Jacobs are tier 1. Romano, he gets a lot of things right, but he's been getting a few things wrong as well. So I think Ben Jacobs and Ornstein are the ones that are closest to it. So on most of the deals, by the way. So it says here, Newcastle pushing to secure signing of Anthony Elanga from Forest. Newcastle United are pushing to secure the signing. I just read that, titles repeated. A new offer has been made by the St James Park club worth more than 50 million plus bonuses. Their efforts to finalise a deal with Forest continue, and work is also needed on the player side. It then goes on to talk about the bid from last season and the earlier bid. 45 million was rejected from Forest. Newcastle basically coming back in with a new offer, and this was the deal from last season. Now, this is important because we've heard so many numbers on this. I've heard 35 million, 40 million, 50 million. What Ornstein is saying is that the Swedish international was also the subject of interest from Newcastle last summer. Newcastle were willing to pay a fee worth around £45 million, with the potential package including an initial 30 million payment, a swap deal with Paraguay. Miggy, man, no thanks. Valued at 5 million, who subsequently joined at Atlanta United. And 2 potential further payments of 5 mil. So what he's saying there is basically it was going to be 30 million plus 5 in terms of the value for Miggy, and then 2 further of £5 million in basically add-ons. So total 45, 35 technically up front. So that was a poor offer. The reports last year were saying 40 to 50 million. So that's what Ornstein's take on it. Then it's all about Elanga's stats. Look, we've seen him play enough for Forest, so we know about that. So his report is slightly different to what Ben Jacobs is telling me. He's saying 55, no add-ons. That's what it is at the moment, but the discussions are still going on with Forest. I'll try and get Ben Jacobs on for you so we can get it straight from the horse's mouth. So, look, I think this deal now is going to happen. I've been hearing it as well, speaking to likes of Ben Jacobs, etc., that this deal looks very, very likely that it's going to happen. And I'm not, how can I say this? I'm not fully against a deal happening. I've lived through seeing Stan Collymore go to Liverpool. Once you've had your heart broken like that, yeah, everything else is just a come down from that, right? So for those of you old enough, I know I'm only 23, but you know, I have long memory, then you'll know what I'm talking about. That was a dagger. I saw Andy Reid go into Spurs. Sickened me. I may have shed a tear for that one. Dawson as well going to Spurs. Those kind of deals really hurt me in my younger years, right? So Elanga or whoever going, this is football. This is life. That's not the stuff that concerns me now, right? Because my concern is what replaces him. Now, if Elanga going means that Forest are going to go and get Yilmaz, Fofana, Richard Rios, and a couple of other players that I want, I'm like, I'll drive him up to Newcastle. I have no problems with it. If we go and we improve this squad so this squad is stronger and deeper, I have no problems with it. Now, on Anthony Elanga himself, I was of the opinion of sell him last summer. Go back and look at the receipts. He did outperform what I expected him to do this season. But I still think there's more to come out of him. And that's the thing with me and Elanga right now. And this isn't copium if the Newcastle fans are watching. I've been very consistent with Elanga. And it's the same, I'll say the same thing I'm sure I've said it before. When he came to Forest from Manchester United, all my Manchester United mates, I say mates, acquaintances, I hate the word mates and Man United in the same thing, were saying to me that he's a good player, he's just not reached his potential yet. Maybe a move to Forest is going to get him to flourish, etc. Now, I would say he has improved on where he was at Manchester United. I think more so the style of football where it's counter-attacking, where he's got grass to run into, benefits his style of play, his strengths in terms of his pace, etc. I still don't think football IQ-wise he's quite there yet. I think he's improved a bit since last season. His assists have been phenomenal for me. That's, for me, better than his pace. It's better than his, well, maybe not better than his goal against Man U. That one's a special one. But that's where he's improved with those assists. Without Elanga, Chris Wood doesn't get 20 goals this season. That's facts. But where for me the issues have been with Elanga is the consistency. I feel he's a form player. When he goes into this run of form, I take you back to around the Villa game where we were losing, he comes on, changes the game, and then he went on this really good run for the next few games. And that was Elanga for me flourishing. And I was like, right, let's kick on and see it. But when you look at his stats, in his last 20 games, if we look at his goal stats, he scored 3 goals in 20 games. 2 of those came against Ipswich in one game. So his output in terms of goal, I would have expected more from him. But obviously he pulled that up with his assists. I think it's 11 assists and 6 goals this season, something like that. So it's a good output. But I think there's more in him, is what I'm trying to say in a long-winded way. So if Elanga goes, he's not the greatest right winger I've ever seen in my life. I will be okay with it. This is the point I'm getting to in a long-winded way. I'll be okay with it if what comes through the door is better. That's my standards. It has to be better. Now, if Elanga went and we were getting that scrub Tim Weah, and that was meant to be the Elanga replacement, you will see me on a video here losing my crap, because that's not an upgrade, that's a downgrade. And that's the key to it all. What I disagree with on this transfer is, one, I think he's worth more than 55. Secondly, I don't think we should be selling before we buy. Because once you sell him, you've created a massive hole in your starting 11. And any team you go to after their right winger, they already know you're plus X amount of £1 million because you sold Elanga. I guarantee you they're going to add 5, 10, 15% onto their asking price. That's the key thing. And let's be real as well. Forest have been able to get to deals with clubs, but where Forest have struggled in this transfer window is getting players to agree to come. And that's the problem. Maybe with Elanga gone, that creates the guaranteed opening, if you like, though nothing should be guaranteed. That a player, that player who Forest are talking to knows they're very likely to get straight into the first team. Maybe that helps us a little bit. I think Rob touched on that on Grumpy Old Reds last night. But I still think it needs to be the other way around. Because the problem with it is if you don't get that replacement and it gets closer and closer to the end of the window, what happens? You end up panic buying. And it'll be anyone will do because we need to fill a hole. That's my worry with this one. So if Forest sell this, I would still like to trust that Marinakis and co will get the right replacements and will use the money wisely. One thing I never doubt is that the money we make on these player sales will get reinvested into the squad. It's not a Glazer situation where they're looking for dividends, etc. Marinakis wants to progress Forest forward. That's why I love him. So I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is what if we don't get better than Elanga? That's the key thing. And I don't really care what the profit is. I don't care how much extra money gets in the bank. If it is between 55 and 60, I don't really care. As long as the money is then used to put what the important thing is, and that's on the pitch. So that's my thoughts on Elanga. I think we can get better than him, but it's the chemistry side. And I'll finish with this. I would like to know as well, what has changed from last summer? Where, if you remember, Marinakis put out a statement saying the reason they did not sell Elanga to Newcastle was because he didn't want to break the dynamics. I'm paraphrasing what he said. He wanted to keep that kind of core brotherhood togetherness of the players together. So what has changed now to mean that it's okay to break that? I think this is a very important question. Because Ola Aina is meant to just about be signing a new contract. We know how close he is with Elanga. Does that change anything? Callum Hudson-Odoi, there's been players sniffing, teams sniffing around for him as well. If his boy is going, does that change anything in his mindset? And what has changed in Marinakis' philosophy to say, okay, now is okay. Is it the price tag? And has it met Forest valuation? Get your thoughts in on all of that down below. I'm going to keep you updated on this one. This one's going to be quite fluid and moving, so make sure you've got your notifications on. There's loads of this, whatever platform you want to watch on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts, on WhatsApp. Make sure you're following us. All the links are down in the description. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well if you are new. And go check out Grumpy Old Reds. The news broke while we were on there, and you can see all the boys' reaction there if you didn't catch it last night. We'll see you on the next video on New Reds.